All right, recording started. Hi and welcome everyone to the next episode of the Keptn Developer Meeting. Like always, this week is focused on features and enhancements that have been implemented on the Keptn Core, meaning that the Keptn Core team will present what they have done. And I have the honor to announce that tomorrow we are going to release a new Keptn release. It will be 0.8.4. Please follow this link to get to the release notes and to find all the details that are implemented, or all the features that have been implemented and all the bugs that have been addressed. From a high-level point of view, two Keptn enhancement proposals were kind of driving this release. And let me just quickly open that, or I already opened that above. The first Keptn enhancement proposal was focused on allowing someone to create or delete a secret using the bridge. Yeah, a couple of releases before we released the secrets service that has an open API to do that. And now we also introduced this feature into the bridge, but I don't want to spoil it too much, as I know that Yamin will show us this feature later on. And the second Keptn enhancement proposal was then focused on supporting troubleshooting of integrations. And this was now also the point where we gave life to the uniform mockup that also was released a couple of releases before, because now all integrations that are connected to your control plane will be listed here on the top. And when you now click on one of these integrations and errors occurred there, then you will also see a list of the errors that happened for this service. And this should help to troubleshoot integrations and to also figure out why maybe certain things are not working. And this is now possible without connecting to a Kubernetes cluster and also without taking a look into the logs of a service. All right. This is it from a high-level point of view. These are the main topics that have driven the release. But as I said, please follow the release notes to find out all the features that have been implemented. There's also one thing to mention, but I know that Christian will talk here a little bit more and also explain that it's needed to upgrade the distributed to 0.8.4 in order to use the new capabilities that Keptn provides for integrating your integrations into the control plane. But we will hear about that in a couple of minutes. Okay, then I will go first with features that have been implemented, as I touched just a small one. And it was about the Helm service that lost his resource quota. I think it happened due to, or based on the change as we introduced the Helm chart for the Helm service, I think this got lost. And what we had set before was 220 megabyte of memory as a request, then 50 milli-CPUs for CPU, and also the limits were defined as 400 megabytes for memory and one CPU as upper boundary for the CPU. And yeah, what I basically did is just adding these quotas again back to the Helm chart where they were commented out or not be set. And now, the Helm service has these quotas enforced. Okay, yeah, this was just my quick fix, but I think the other features are more interesting, and this is the reason why I now will hand over to Ermin to show us what he has implemented.
Thank you very much. I'm going to present a pull request today regarding creating, deleting, and seeing the list of secrets in the Keptn's bridge. So as Johannes already mentioned, we have the secret service, and we also added in this sprint the new get endpoint. So the bridge now can retrieve the secrets that were created by the secret service and create and also delete those that are existing. And of course, I prepared a demo. It's locally on my machine, but yeah, I can show you how this new screen now works. So when you go to the uniform tab, you see a secrets section, and there you would see those secrets that have already been created by the secret service. And you can also add secrets. Yeah, just give it a name, like Dynatrace, and the key could be dt tenant, some value, dt API token, and some value. And then when you hit the add secret, yeah, it should create the secret, but I guess I have already a secret that's name is Dynatrace. So in a few seconds, yeah, you will see here this error message. But I can create another one, Dynatrace 2. So for example, so we have created a new one, and also I can delete an existing secret. Of course, the bridge will ask me if I'm sure if I want to can cancel that process, or I can just click on delete, and then it will delete the secret. Yeah, that's yeah, all about list, create, and delete secrets in Keptn's bridge. Are there any questions? So I'm handing over to Christian.
Thanks. Okay, so as my first point for today, I want to show you a little bit that Johannes already has announced. We need to upgrade our integrations, or well, everyone should upgrade the integrations to use the latest version of the distributor once Keptn 084 is out. And there is an example pull request here for the Dynatrace service that you can follow. It has a good description. But I want to show you I want to show you live how this works. And so the idea here is quite simple. Give me a second. Sorry. So the idea is quite simple. You need to change the distributor image, obviously, and you need to add a couple of environment labels or environment variables here. And yeah, let's just do that. So I have a service here. It's my Django migrate service. And essentially what you need to do is you need to edit your deployment manifest. You need to scroll down to where it says Keptn distributor, or in my case, scroll up, sorry. You can see this is the image here. And this you need to change to 084. But it's not enough. You also need to add those environment variables. Essentially, we're taking the version, the Kubernetes deployment name, the pod name, the namespace, and the node name as an environment variable. You can have any value in here, but the ones we provide here are best practice. And so that's this one. We scroll down to environment, and this is where we need to add it. And then last but not least, we reference two fields here from the metadata labels. It's the version and the name, and they should be in the deployment metadata labels. And if we scroll up, this is our deployment of our service, of our integration, and there are our labels. And as you can see, it only has a run label. It doesn't have the other two labels, version and name. So we need to add them. I'm also copy pasting it from here because it's provided here already. And there we go. Need to make sure the indentation is right. And obviously I need to make sure this is my actual service name here and my actual service version. And once this is done, you can create a release, etc., etc. So the normal procedure that you would do with your integration. And once you install it, So what's the purpose of it? Yeah, once you install it, you should see it in this brand new screen that has already been shown, I think. You should see it here. So for instance, the Dynatrace service, I don't have it anymore, but the Prometheus service, I have it here. You should see it here just appearing. But you should also see like all the other services, like this is a fresh installation of the master branch of Keptn, but you should see all the services that Keptn Core is using appearing here as well. And if I were to apply this manifest, I would also see it. There's just one caveat. 084 isn't out yet, so I need to change this to 084 dev. You will not have to do this. This is really just for me now. And then I need to apply it. So I will apply my service YAML. And once that is done, I'll just refresh the screen, I think. Might take a couple of seconds. Okay, demo got sound nice to me, but now that Keptn Django migrate service should appear on the screen. If this happens to you, how can you troubleshoot it? Also a nice step. You can just say kubectl -n Keptn get deployments and -o white, for instance, and then take a look at your service that we're talking about. So this would be the Keptn Django migrate service. And you could execute kubectl -n Keptn logs, deployment, Keptn Django migrate service, distributor. So you get the logs of the distributor. And okay, it says it has registered now. So maybe it was a timing issue. Okay, I'm not yet seeing it, so yeah.
Christian,
Maybe
when you scroll
down a
down.
little bit.
Thanks. So minor improvement here for Bridge. I really did not see the scroll bar. So yeah, but I guess I also did show the troubleshooting step, so that's a win for all of us.
If everything would be that easy, just code.
Okay, any questions regarding this topic? Nice. We will open issues, I think, in a couple of repositories with some details, but you can also reference to this community meeting. It's recorded, and yeah. All right, the next topic I worked on is a small improvement for the Keptn install process that some of us ran into during installing the master branch, but technically this could happen anytime. The Keptn install command would run into an error saying error when installing, upgrading the Helm chart. Another operation is in progress. So what happened is the Helm install or the Helm upgrade ran into a timeout or even was still running in the background. Maybe some Docker images couldn't be pulled. Maybe a pod didn't start. Something happened in the background. We don't know. But the Keptn CLI gave you an error message that's not very nice. And I did include a fix for this, well, or at least I did include a nicer error message for this. So what we do is we essentially check if there's an existing installation, and if this existing installation has a status of impending install, upgrade, or rollback, then we provide a proper error message saying there's a previous installation that's still pending, and you should wait a couple of minutes before trying again, because each of these operations has a timeout of 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, the problem should fix itself, and we will see if that works out. If it doesn't, then the next advice would be to do some magic with the Helm CLI. Any questions on that? All right. The next one is just a minor thing. Our integration test fail issue that we get every time an integration test fails was missing a column. I fixed that. Then next one is also minor detail. So when doing a Keptn upgrade, we queried the latest Keptn release installed. And the way we did this was by using the Helm history command. And apparently I ran into a situation where my last installed release was not actually an installed release, but a rolled back release. And then I got a wrong message in the CLI. And I also fixed that with my PR. Okay, then 2 more topics I worked on but wasn't able to finish. So we wanted to upgrade nuts to version 0.80, or at least the nuts help chart to version 0.80. This is part of the story. Run Docker container as non-root. Unfortunately, we discovered that you cannot upgrade Keptn anymore once this is in. So installation works fine, but upgrading doesn't work. There is some change in the Helm chart that's not upgrade friendly, and we will need to investigate. So I have reverted this change and the issue is open again. And the second one was a Swagger UI related issue. So when you open your API, I can actually show this here. You authorize. So for instance, here you say, this is my token. And when you switch to, let's say, control plane, you lose authorization and you need to reauthorize because there's a different name in here. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as just renaming this. I guess it would be possible to rename it here, but I'm also not sure. The problem is that the Swagger definitions generated in the services that are here, they kind of differ because this is used, this is generated using Go Swagger, and the other one is generated from a Gin-Gonic based service, and they are just not compatible. So right now we will need to live with this difference, and it's really a minor detail because you need to reauthorize here, and that's about it. Okay, any questions to any of the aforementioned topics? Okay, if not, then I'll hand over to Moritz. We cannot hear you, Moritz.
Does it work now?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So I worked on the Keptn instance that we use for deploying in our integration test pipeline. And I improved that instance with Cert Manager and Let's Encrypt SSL certificates so that the whole instance is now using HTTPS. And actually, I improved upon that as well with providing all the different stages that we deploy there also with SSL certificates automatically. So now the normal Keptn's bridge has SSL through Let's Encrypt. Let's check the details. Yeah, you already see this certificate is valid. It's by Let's Encrypt. And then in here we have actually 4 stages, but 3 currently running, which is dev, hardening, and production. And all throughout the sequences, when they get deployed, they all get new certificates and actually also get their own URLs. So every stage here has its own subdomain in front here. So you can reach dev by having dev.keptn on keptn.sh, and then the same for hardening and the same for production. And everything is equipped with SSL with their own ingresses. And this would be kind of the use case where you wanna, let's say, kick off a QA process on your just deployed stage. And you could easily just share that URL with anybody for them to QA that instance.
Also nice for trying to reproduce a bug.
Exactly, yeah. I also worked on another minor fix, which is our integration test issues that pop up all the time. They should now only pop up with artifacts that were from master branch and not from all the branches. So this should reduce some of the issues that we directly close anyways, since they are not from the main branch. Yeah, I would say that's pretty much it. Handing over to Florian, if there's no questions, actually. Okay.
All right, in that case, I'll take over. All right. Yeah, let's have a look what I did during the sprint. So the first issue was to implement an API or a new API endpoint for the secret service. So basically, in the previous Keptn version, we were able to use that service to create and update secrets, but not to get them actually. And that was the requirement for this issue. So of course, this is also the base for the backend part of the feature that Ermin showed you earlier. And what that endpoint does is basically return a list of the created secrets, but of course only the metadata, which is the name of the secret and the scope, but of course not the secret itself. And the implementation was done here in this pull request. So basically, yeah, also part of the issue was to extend the CLI with the capability of retrieving a list of secrets. Yeah, the code is not too spectacular. Of course, a couple of unit tests, and the main part was done. Scroll down a little bit. Yeah, exactly. So I extended.
Sorry, Flo. I
Kubernetes
only see a white screen. Is it only on my side, or does anybody?
I have the same actually.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you sharing the wrong?
Reshare.
Yeah, it looks like something froze on your sharing.
Mm.
Yeah, it's better now.
It's black.
It's black.
Now it's gone.
All right. That is very good.
There was a flickering going on, but
Seems like Zoom has one of these days again.
I think if you rejoin the meeting, it should be fine.
Yeah, I will try that. I'll be back in a second.
Then I think Klaus, you were next in the list. Are you okay taking over?
Yes. Or
Florian is back.
okay.
All right, so let's give it another go.
yep, working.
It's better now?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Then let's get back to it. So the main part of this implementation was here in this get secrets method. It's not really spectacular. So here we're just using the Kubernetes library of Golang to retrieve the secrets, and actually only the ones that are managed by the secret service. This is done using the app.kubernetes.io managed by label selector. And here we only retrieve those that have been actually created by the secret service. Yeah, actually there is not too much more to this pull request. Are there any questions about that? All right, if not, let's continue with the next one, which is the forwarding of log messages from distributor to our new log ingestion API. So as Johannes already said, the main driver of this sprint was, and also of this release, was to enhance the observability and debugging capabilities of Keptn for the uniform integrations. And one crucial part of that is to make debugging a little bit easier by having a centralized view where users can identify the problems that might occur in their Keptn integrations. and that is enabled by the distributor. So the way this feature works is that the distributor will receive all outgoing events by the uniform integration service. So for example, the finished event, and if the incoming finished event has a status of errored or a result of fail, then it will intercept that event, extract the log message, and forward it to the log ingestion API. So that is one part of the feature. So this is to identify problems that occur within this within the execution of a task sequence execution. But of course, there might be other instances where a service encounters an error while it's not running in the context of a task sequence execution, but for example, while performing any other tasks. So this might be the case in the Dynatrace service, which has the feature of synchronizing service entities between Dynatrace and between Keptn, and that operation doesn't run within the context of a task sequence execution. For that purpose, we introduced a new type of event. Actually, let's go to the issue for that. So this is the sh.keptn.event.log.error event, and that can be sent by uniform integration service. So it's in order to also go through the distributor, and the distributor will also react to events of that type, and then also use them to forward the message to the log ingestion API. Let's actually have a look at this feature. So here we have the bridge with the new uniform screen that is now been brought to life by the API in the background. And here I have the overview of the services that are running here. And for example, if I click on the Lighthouse service, I now at the bottom get the error logs, if there are any available for that particular service. And here we see that, for example, there was a problem where the time frame wasn't specified correctly, or during the evaluation, or an evaluation was failed. And also I think there is the possibility of clicking on the task, and then it will direct me to the according sequence that has been executed in that case. And here we see that simply the task sequence execution failed because the quality gates didn't pass. All right, are there any questions about that feature? Right, if not, let's continue with the last one. So that was a very minor enhancement, but important nonetheless. So basically the problem here was that in the statistics service, via its API, you're able to retrieve the statistics, as the name suggests, for your Keptn installation. And it's also possible to specify a time frame by passing from and to properties. And here it wasn't documented clearly that actually this endpoint requires simply 2 Unix timestamps. So it wasn't clear whether the time had to be entered using a certain time or date format, or just a Unix timestamp, as it is in this case. And the way this has been addressed is to...
I think your screen is frozen again, at least for me. Does it work for everybody else?
Now it's gone on my side.
Let me just explain the issue. I think we don't need the screen here. So I just extended the Swagger doc with a hint that in this case, the time timestamp has to be provided as a Unix timestamp, and I also added a link to the Unix timestamp documentation, where you can also generate Unix timestamps for a particular date. All right, any questions about that? If not, I will hand over to who's the next one, Klaus, and hopefully we won't freeze.
So, okay, the first thing is a very minor thing, just the timeline for sequences and for the service screen is changed because it's now more visible to see a selected stage. So the selection is now based on the result of the stage. And yeah, that's basically it. Now there's also an underline that indicates that's clickable, and the same is for the service screen. When you go, for example, to deployments, you see it's selected by the color because it's filled. The next thing that's already here is the sequences. In the service screen, you see now the latest sequences and also the open remediation. So if there is an open remediation, you see an indicator with an error, and also there's a remediation and which type. And also this is a clickable link. So when you click on the remediation, you get to the sequence screen and see the sequence. Because before it was not very clear when there is an error message or something at a stage is red, white is red, and now you can see which delivery has which status. Yeah, and that's basically it. Maybe another thing, because Elizabeth is not here. Now in the uniform screen, we have now error messages. So for example, if I select, what was it? The approval service, I just pushed some errors by hand. You can now see the error logs to the service. So the date, the task, the sequence with a link to the sequence, and the error message. That's basically it. And if there is, there's also an indicator that you have to select a uniform registration to see the logs. Yeah. That's basically it. Any questions? Guess not. So I will hand over to Bernd.
Thank you. So
we kind of already have shown everything, right?
We kind of have. I will elaborate a bit on the registration feature. So I was mainly responsible for that feature, registering the services from the distributor. So I was almost set when I saw that it might not work on Christian's machine, but it just missed the scroll bar. This one is a little bit more prominent on my browser here, so I think
I blame Firefox. I fully blame Firefox.
Yeah. So, but I can also show you additional stuff on that. What I have here is, again, this uniform screen. On the right side, I have the deployment resource for our Keptn Echo service. If we take a look at the resource definition here, one moment, we can see those are the environment variables which were already discussed by Christian, but there are some more. especially this one here, diesel registration. So for whatever reason you can, for whatever reason, just opt out of this feature by setting it to true. So if you set this one to true, nothing should happen. The default is false. If you do not provide it, it's also false. So it's really just a feature to opt out. If I just put here true, then apply this thing, refresh here. I don't see my echo service here going up, but if I take a look at the logs, actually from the echo service, I should see something in there. Yeah, it's basically running. I should actually also see a log message where it's saying that it's actually not registering. No, here it is. Registration to the Keptn control plane disabled. So it's not registering, but everything else will actually work as expected. Also, if you don't provide any environment variable that are absolutely mandatory, it will give you a warning. Let's just revert this thing here, false. And I think the one which is mandatory is the namespace, actually. If I rename this to something else, we do the kubectl apply. I should here see another warning, which is saying skipping registration because not all mandatory environment variables are set. So you need at least to set Kubernetes namespace and Kubernetes deployment name. So also in this case, everything works from an event processing point of view, but it's not registered in the control plane. That's under this one. Which one is it? That one. Yep. And now finally, if I would apply this one, refresh that page, I should actually see the echo service popping up, hopefully.
Is this page auto refresh?
No, it's not. That's maybe something we could improve. You need to press F5 to see it, and here it already is. Yeah, and if I delete this deployment, it will go away again. So actually what's happening in the background is that the distributor is actually periodically re-registering the service. So the next thing we could easily do is include here a column named last seen or something like that, and then we would have a perfect feature to see in all situation if a service is actually functioning or not. If last seen is, I don't know, a couple of hours ago, it probably isn't functioning correctly anymore. Right now we are just unregistering the service on a graceful shutdown. So the service or the distributor needs to have the possibility to call the unregister API so that it can unregister and fall out of that list here. Good. That was the first thing. Then there is a column called control plane here, called location here. I can also demonstrate. Let me show you this. Let's go on. So I have here the distributor Go project, and I can start it from here as well. I've put the environment variables in, and I will just start it here. I see here the same logs, it got registered, and if I refresh this page here, I see my, in this case, the service name is Whoopi, the version is developed. We don't have a cluster or host, so there's not available. And here we see that now we are effectively running the service or the distributor not on the Keptn control plane, but somewhere else, so on the remote execution plane. This is also automatically detected if you are actually running on a control plane or not, and then you will see it also here. Okay, and if I cancel this here, I also see it's unregistering. If it's gracefully shut down, aka if it has the possibility to unregister, it will do so. Okay, that was that. Any question to this? No. Then I had a couple of other issues. Integration tests for uniform log. So that's for the uniform registration actually. So that's exactly integration testing, that feature I've showed you. Let's take a look. It's on the Go test. So that's again integration test written in Go. So as you know, we are migrating our integration test from plain Bash scripts to Go to have better features to assert things or waiting for things, or just using the Keptn API and so on. And it's quite already quite nice to write those integration tests here. I'm just testing the same thing I showed you before with the echo service. There's a function for kubectl for doing a kubectl apply. I've just used that to deploy the echo service. Then we are using that testify feature to eventually assert a condition. If the condition becomes true in the next 20 seconds, then it's okay. If not, then the test will fail and so on. So basically, I'm just starting the deployment and using the Keptn API to see if a service called echo service with this and that attributes got registered in the Keptn control plane or not. And in the end, I'm deleting the echo service integration and make sure that the service is unregistered successfully. So I'm guessing those integration tests will become more and more convenient to write as we have more and more nice little helper function, and we should stay at this very high level in the test code itself. So I think there will come in cool integration tests written in Go. If there's no question about that, then the two more things, which is one bug report I've just tackled today. So with the implementation of the remediation service, we've kind of lost the possibility to have a default problem type as an ultimate fallback, so to say. So if no problem type could be found in the remediation YAML file, then there should be the fallback to the default problem type. It's just implemented there as a last step. We just check if the action is still not determined. Then we check for a problem type called default, and if we find one, then this will be executed. If also default is not present, then there is no remediation possibility, and we cannot do anything. So that was reintroduced. It's not a new feature. It was just kind of forgotten to implement in the remediation service when we did the changes in the last sprints. So that was that. And there were some, this one. Yeah, there were some Keptn cloud events for which the SH Keptn spec version field was missing. That was also a minor change in Go utils where we just actively set this attribute. So also now everything should have this property.
Are we actually using the helper functions in all of our microservices?
So there, in all our Go microservices, I think so. Yes, there are two entry points to that: one function and one and via a struct called event sender. So I did not find any other. Should be fine. For all other services which are not written in Go, I simply, I don't know. But on the core side, we are safe. Good. That's from my side, I think. Nothing more to show. Thanks. I don't know who is next.
I think we are done for the day.
Okay.
Yeah, looks like you were the last one. Sorry. All right, then are there questions in the chat? No, there aren't. Are there other questions from listeners or from other guys? Let's just wait a couple of seconds. No, it's not the case. Then I think we can close today a little bit earlier. Stay tuned for the new release. As you saw today, awesome features, and I really like now that we have the possibility to see integrations that are connected to the control plane, and I think this will help quite a lot also to establish Keptn as the center and the control plane for doing all your automation tasks and orchestrating the jobs that you want to get automated. Really awesome. Stay tuned, and I have to say thanks for joining in, and see you then next week, same time, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
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 Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.